When we examine the financial drain of an aging enterprise system, the core application itself is rarely the main culprit. The real cost lies in the glowing lines you see here, the intricate integrations required to keep that core communicating with the business. We call this overhead the integration tax. It is the specific engineering effort, coordination hours, and operational risk required to connect these opaque systems together. Every time an enterprise adds a new requirement, developers prioritize speed, building point-to-point connections around the legacy hub. As this custom wiring accumulates, core business logic leaks out, scattering data transformation rules across dozens of undocumented systems. The danger here is the invisible fragility it creates. Every routine business process now relies on a fragile web of assumptions that no single engineer fully understands. The industry standard solution to this opacity is to layer APIs over the legacy systems. That standardizing access points does not resolve the uncertainty hiding beneath them. APIs dictate the interface, how to make a request, but they cannot explain the erratic behavior churning invisibly inside the black box. They tell you how to knock, but not what happens after the door opens. This forces engineers into a constant cycle of rediscovery. Every time a new API connection is required, teams have to manually trace undocumented logic flows and run defensive tests just to figure out how the legacy system will actually react. This chart tracks system age against integration effort, revealing a harsh economic reality. Because institutional knowledge decays over time, each successive integration requires more manual reverse engineering, and effort climbs exponentially. Adding modern interfaces without capturing the underlying behavioral logic simply multiplies the number of dependencies. You trade technical debt for integration debt, accelerating the cost curve of every future project. To stop this compounding cost, enterprises have to replace manual reverse engineering with automated system intelligence. Coda Aura approaches this through a specific structural methodology. First, Coda Aura extracts the embedded business logic directly from the legacy code. It reads the raw infrastructure and translates it into a structured, queryable knowledge base that anyone on the team can access. This flowchart visualizes the understand phase. Coda Aura's AI maps module relationships, identifying API touchpoints, and structuring legacy code into clear pathways. You track exactly how data follows the route through the system, seeing actual execution pathways before writing any integration code. Invisible assumptions are replaced by explicit, verified facts. Integration planning moves from defensive trial and error to deterministic engineering. Once the system logic is mapped and understood, Code Aura transitions to the modernize phase. It uses that newly extracted knowledge to convert the legacy system into API-ready assets. Instead of humans hand-coding every connection, the AI automatically builds the integration layers, adapters, and microservices from the extracted logic. By generating the structural code automatically, the timeline for a new integration shrinks. Now the enterprise is no longer bottlenecked by the availability of the few remaining legacy subject matter experts. This interface shows Code Aura's AI assistant, Elliot. As the codebase updates in real time on the left, engineers use the active chat interface on the right to instantly query complex system behaviors, with documentation syncing continuously to match the live environment. Because the behavioral map evolves alongside the code, the knowledge remains locked into the platform rather than the minds of individual developers. The cycle of repeated onboarding and lost memory stops. Establishing a persistent knowledge layer alters the basic economics of maintaining a legacy system. The economic trajectory inverts. The exponential integration tax curve drops sharply, replaced by compounding efficiency. First, Code Aura maps the environment, lighting up that architectural quadrant. The second integration reuses this intelligence. By the third, connections are generated automatically as verified knowledge propagates across the map. Every subsequent integration reuses the artifacts and mapping from the last. Building a new connection actively lowers the barrier to entry for the next one. By making dependencies explicit and automating the coding process, Code Aura eliminates the root cause of the integration tax. Fragile legacy architecture becomes proactive, automated infrastructure.